Rev up your engines!
Jason says, should I use Lucas products in a CVT transmission? Can you add Lucas transmission fix the 50 weight fluid to a CVT transmission? I was wondering if they can handle it. Just curious. No, I would never do that. CVT transmissions have special fluids. You want to use the one that was made for that particular car. I wouldn't even mix a different brand CVT fluid with another one. If you're going to change the fluid in the CVT, buy the original equipment fluid. You don't necessarily have to buy it at a dealership, but you want the same exact fluid that goes in it. You add a heavy 50 weight oil to that lightweight oil that's in the CVT, it could go bananas. They're very particular about what kind of fluid they use. So no. You would not want to add that to any CVT transmission. You'd be asking for trouble. It's going to change the viscosity by a lot. The oil that's in there is very thin. You put a 50 weight oil in. Now, the Lucas transmission fix, the heavy stuff, is really good for like old American cars. I've seen them where they slip like mad. You put that in and they stop slipping entirely. Great for the old ones. But especially for CVTs, no. Don't even think about using that stuff in a modern CVT transmission. Only use the fluid that it came with. Because realize, when you change the fluid in the CVT, about 80% of it stays in the transmission. Only a little bit drains out. So all you're doing is diluting it. So you don't want to put some other kind of fluid in to mix with the original fluid, because who knows what the additives are of an aftermarket fluid. You got to use the same original fluid. Well, Stellantis is rearranging the deck as the company is sinking. They now have ousted their CFO, their Chief Financial Officer. They're all dead from the neck up, the chief officers anyways. You replace one with another, it's really going to make a difference. The cars will still be just as crappy. They'll try to pull out of the United States where they have to pay workers more and move everything to Mexico. But Natalie Knight, their Chief Financial Officer, has been fired. And Doug Osterman is going to take over. Yeah, like I say, does it really matter? They think that's going to make a difference. Come on now, let's put on our thinking caps. You had a company that makes crappy products people don't want. They have labor problems all over the place. They just had to shut down production of their electric Fiat 500 because nobody wants to buy the little stinking piles of crap. Oh, but we'll get rid of our Chief Financial Officer, put a new one in, that'll fix it all. No, it won't. And here's the hilarious thing. Doug Osterman, he's the former chief operating officer of its China division, which is miserably failing. The Chinese aren't buying these Stellantis vehicles. Their sales are down the toilet, right? Got a guy who really failed in China? Let's make him our chief financial officer, little company now. To me, it's like they're all a bunch of friends together at their board meetings. Oh yeah, well, we all pay each other millions. Isn't this phenomenal, you know? Well, the company's going down the toilet. Oh, well, let's get Doug, you know. He screwed up in China. Let's see if he can screw the whole company up. Well, Elon Musk revealed his robo-taxi and robots and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? It didn't impress anybody. Now, the analysts, I agree with them for sure. They say that these revelations fail to highlight any near-term opportunities for Tesla. Instead, just having a vision for the fully automatized future driving, right? Now he's talking about a cyber van. El Bizarro, right? And he had the robots, right? His robots are there. The problem was the robots didn't do much of anything except march on stage. Supposedly they can do all kinds of things. He says, they can pour you drinks. You can just lay back and let the robots do the work, right? It'll make the world free for everyone. Well, everybody who can afford is $30,000 to whatever $1,000 robots. The poor people aren't going to go out and buy robots. The robots are taking their jobs from them, right? Well, it didn't impress anybody because now, finally, the facade is off, the curtain has opened, and people are realizing that Elon Musk is a futurist with these fantasies about the future, and in reality, they never come to fruition. His boring company's a failure. His self-driving vehicles are failures, right? Yet he keeps pushing these things out there. I mean, it's not going to impress the stock market because you got to have a product eventually that people buy that makes money. And the robo-taxis, hey, that drive themselves, come on now. if ever. It's way in the future. Robots in your house, they don't do much. I mean, if you see what some of these other ones do, the Chinese robots, they got his robots blown out of the water, right? But that's the problem when you have a company where the guy who runs it likes having his rear end kissed, right? And oh, you're so great, Elon. You're so great, Elon. You're so great, right? You don't get much coming out of it that's that good because they're all kissing heinies instead of doing logical analysis and saying, hey, look, Elon, these robots, they don't seem to do much of anything. They'll say, oh, yeah, hey, Elon, sooner everyone's going to have one. No, they aren't. And wise up, people. You invest in that stuff, you'd be a fool. Now, I can't believe why all this stuff ends up going to court. Boeing has filed an unfair labor practice charge against the striking union. Okay, here's what they say. Boeing said the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers representing the workers had failed to bargain in good faith during the 4-week stoppage. Boeing said that the union, quote, engaged in a pattern of bad faith bargaining and issuing misinformation to its members about the status of negotiations. This is insane. The company is taking the union to go, you didn't bargain correctly, right? Well, then they could say you didn't bargain correctly either. They all lie to each other back and forth. That's the business world. Do you think anybody in the business world ever tells the truth about anything? Everything they do, if you read the small print on the bottom, it says, these are forward-facing ideas that may never come to reality, and if you invest in this company, you might lose everything, right? Come on now. Any fool can see. Their Starliners are massive failure. Their airplanes are falling apart. I know people who work there that left when they met me when I was checking out their cars. Oh, yeah, we used to work there, but I quit because I'm an engineer. And I had to sign off on stuff I didn't want to sign off on because they were just rushing production. It's a rotten company, yet they want to sue the union because you didn't bargain in good faith. Hey, well, they gave us planes and a Starliner in good faith. It didn't work that well, so isn't that too bad? This has become the American solution now. If you don't like what's happening, sue people, right? It's just insanity. It's gotten to a level that no one could have predicted this. Well, we'll fight, but then we'll have to go to court over that one because, you didn't do it in good faith. What the heck is good faith, Just like Elon Musk got away with the full self-driving stuff that they got sued of because the court said, this is mere puffery, meaning that it's just him BSing, and he didn't really mean it. How do you know what people really mean, right? But the fact that you can get away with a defense of puffering, that you lied that your car was going to be self-driving and people invested and it didn't, and then the stock went down and people lost money. Hey, the puffery is that this guy can fool you with puffery to invest in his company, if you ask me. Well, the Chinese have switched on for the first time the largest windmill in the world, the giant wind turbine. Check it out. It's humongous, and they claim it can make it through any kind of storm. They say that it can even make it through a Category 17 typhoon. Now, that's what they say. Let's hope one comes by, and we'll see if it blows down or not, right? Now, this is a 20-megawatt turbine, and here's what the baloney article that I'm reading says. You always take the opposite as being true, right? It emphasizes the dedication of Ming Yang to transparency along with environmental energy governance. Transparency. We all know the Chinese have no transparency. They'll say whatever they want about anything. And if the government doesn't like their slant, they'll shut them down. You can't say that, right? They're saying these things, but are they really going to go through a typhoon? Are they really game changers? Now, I did a little research the other day, and I did come to the conclusion that if you're talking about alternative sources of electricity, you're actually much better off with solar panels than these stupid wind turbines. Because I looked into, say, getting one to put out in the country. And then you'd find out the small amount that comes out of a wind turbine versus the much larger that you can get out of a bunch of solar panels. The solar panels actually blow them away. Sure, they don't work when the sun's not shining, but those wind turbines cost a bunch of money, and they really don't generate for that money enough power. It's cheaper putting solar panels in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You do the math, you'll see that, let's say you got a place out in the country, there's no electricity. Get solar panels and some batteries. Don't get yourself a wind generator. The money those things cost and the small amount of electricity they put out, it is not worth. And yes, the big ones are much bigger, but they cost infinitely more to build. and you don't get your investment back. And of course, they are going to break eventually. They're spinning around. They need expensive maintenance. In any case, the solar panels make a lot more sense than these stupid windmills putting them out there. Solar panels are much more modern technology. Their wind turbines are just fancy modern windmills. And windmills went out of vogue over 150 years ago. You know why? Because they don't produce enough energy. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.